Everybody, we're going to talk about composition, and I think this is a good one to start with. We're not going to talk today about, leading lines. We might mention it. We're not going to talk about the Fibonacci spiral. We're not going to talk about rule of thirds. I think those are all silly, silly rules. What we're going to talk about is composition by feeling, composition by emotion, composition by visual engagement, how to create images compositionally that move the viewer. We're going to start out with this picture of sunglasses here, which I think is a really well done image. This is Adam Bendig's photograph, and he's got a lot going on here. Whatever you do when you look at this thing, you're going to end up with this sunglass here. It's the biggest one in the bunch. It's the one that's forward facing, has the largest shadowed area down below it here, and it's the warmer tone. We can see most of this glass, but see, it's cropped off and it's cropped off. Our brain tells us that it's cropped off and there it's not important. Also cropped, also cropped, also cropped. This one's not cropped off, but it's closed. Do you see how he's done it? It's chaotic, but it works. It brings our eye to this pair of sunglasses, and it shows us how pretty chaos can be. And I think that's one of the engaging parts about this image. The next one up is Barbara Shu with a really lovely still life. One of the things that I notice about this shot that I really like is how she's slightly off center with the camera. Now, if you know my work, you know that I'm always saying get dead center so that your leading lines go back evenly. But on this one, this shorter line with that longer wide line is very effective. Why? Because the shorter line is over on this side where the flower is, and then this one comes at a wider angle and it just sort of fills out this space. Not quite even, but pretty close. Close enough to be considered centered. This is centered. And then things on the table are moved slightly to the left. And notice how the eye just comes right in here with the light, how Barbara's brought the light in just to touch the top of the flowers, just right through here with a beautiful, lovely composition that swirls around. Color-wise, bringing those warm pinks against those very, very cool green really pops. So lovely little negative space up here, little light and shadow, lovely composition. Bob Wheaton did this shot a number of years ago, and I'm just really thrilled with it. I think it's great. He's got something floating in here, a raspberry, I believe, or something, but there's all kinds of texture here. Those are not bubbles. And then this line that just gives us just the hint of a bottle, and the line that just gives us just a hint of the glass. We're not looking at a bottle. We're not looking at a glass. We are looking at just parts of both of those things. Technically, notice how Bob captures that line right there. It's just beautiful. Comes right over and disappears right here because it can. Lots of negative space to let it breathe, and everything leads like a V down to the red. The red is partly the composition, is that red. The lines are great. They give us texture, they give us design, they give us shape, they give us dimension, but it's really where the position of that red is. Right down here. Boom, boom, dead center. Beautiful composition, Bob Wheaton. Also Bob Wheaton, yellow sunflower, dropped down to the left with the shadow taking up the space in the negative area here, really providing a second subject with that shape. Really well done. And of course, we think of sunflowers, we think of sun, blue sky, and you put this blue paper here, and it's really, really nice. It's very modern. The sunflower and the shadow live on the white. The blue is just sort of this influence over here. It's negative space, but it's a dark blue negative space, and that changes the weight of the yellow sunflower, and the shadow here are offset by the blue. So the image ends up looking quite balanced. You can also get a little messy with things. This is Karen Harris. Karen's baby shoes here with the paper. Notice how this shoe comes in, this shoe comes in. Where do they lead us? They lead us out into this face. we discover the face. We got the lines and everything. We discover the face because we have leading lines here too. All this texture. The window light here, the light coming through this window, lighting up the side of the shoe, it leads us around. There's all kinds of negative space over here, but it's negative space with a purpose. It's here to drive us to the center of this image, which is right there. And it works so well. These warm tones all the way through keep the shot looking uniform, and that's very powerful. Cat Vibert did this great little shot, single shot, all kinds of mirrors and reflectors and things happening here, and it turned out really, really cool, didn't it? You can see she's using compositional elements like blocks of color, this gray, this light tan, white, gray, black, a little bit of gray going on here, the banana cutting through, the lemon cutting through. It's beautiful. It's a composite, and it's just beautifully done. It's a lovely composition, and it's a great design. I like this shot here by Doris Rudd. Always have. Doris put a yellow pear on a yellow piece of paper, let the sun hit it, and created this great composition. We have the pear and we have a pear. The composition fills the center of the frame. You see that over here, that space? Just about the same as that space over there. The bottom space? Just about the same as the bottom space at the top. Do you see how that works? And it gives us a real comfortable, very, very comfortable feeling to this image. We know this image. We see it, we know it, because we understand that geometry. So even by putting the pear to one side, the shadow comes and fills it over here. Great place to put some text in here, make a great ad, promo piece, all kinds of things. This is all about verticals. Verticals in the surface, verticals here, and then these little cap shapes at the top. Everything overlaps something else. It looks pretty cool. This one comes right dangerously close to a tangent here, but it's not. It's, we can still see that black back there. Dangerously close, playing with fire. This is Doris Rudd again, playing with fire, but she pulled it off. And these bottles look great. Everything overlaps just slightly, even that part of the jug there, part of the jug there, this jug overlapping the back one, this one overlapping the one behind it. Really, really works well. So you get kind of this circular thing, low to high, and it's a fun composition. Got rid of the edge here, just, looks like she's just blended it a little bit, this horizon line. You can kind of see it, you can kind of feel it, but it works really, really well. Here's Dwayne Middlebrook. Dwayne used these. This shot could have been not nearly as exciting without the addition of the shadow on the wall. And not only is the shadow there, notice it's distorted. It's the first thing you notice about the picture is the distorted shadow. These aren't distorted at all. They're just perfectly done. However, if you look deeper, you'll see that these curves represented up here are also represented here and represented here and represented here. They're all over this thing. Those curves are represented by the design of the perfumes themselves. And that can be a very subtle but powerful compositional tool. Repeat those patterns. Here we're going to use black to pull the subject up front. This is a great shot by Frank Grisier. I love the nice, powerful highlight down the side of the bottle here. I love the highlights on the tomatoes because we've got a highlight to that side. It's a little small light. We got a large light to the left here, a small light over here, popping these little highlights, filling it in here with a white card. The label looks good, but notice the composition from here up to here, down to here. We get this nice triangle, everything leading us up here. Notice the dark space behind it. Great place for text. or a headline or something else, maybe a QR code. Those seem to be real popular these days, or coming back into popularity. We've got a surface down here that gives a place for it to sit. So lovely composition. Negative space, negative space. Everything is filled in the middle with this one element jutting into the negative space here. It's cool. I like this. This is a shot by, let's see, Gabriel Alvarez. Gabriel, this is classic for me, classic. We've got the shadow side of the spaghetti. There is a fill over here. You see it coming in here? There is a fill to this side. It's a little bit in front, but it's lighting this up here nicely so that the dark part of the spaghetti is still against the little bit brighter background, but it's not dead on. It's not like this background was right behind here. That would work as well, but this is very subtle, and I think it brings a little bit more realism to it. I'm personally not crazy about where the horizon is. I would rather this unit, the this whatever this tray is, jut into the background and put the horizon of the table down over here. But I can live with this here. I think if you have something sitting on a surface, you've got to break that back horizon unless there's a reason to show me this area here. There's not a reason to show me that area, so let's not see it. Okay. And we've got this great, I love this, how this is done. We've got the dark egg against the bright bowl and the bright egg against the shadow side of the bowl here. Perfect geometry, lovely little fill light here. What you're seeing is a design. You know, it's much more of a design than it is a picture of an egg. We're seeing shapes. Our brain says it's an egg, but our brain is also seeing those shapes. And if you look very carefully, you'll see a little bit of a shape there, and a little bit of shape down here, and a little bit darker one here. So it's all about nuance. It's a really wonderful shot by Gabriel Alvarez as well. Really well done. Sometimes the thing you shoot has its own composition. And this one, and notice where the horizon is right there. Perfect place for it, right after the what is this thing? Anyway, after it comes down, it gets right to that point. It's an artichoke. There we go. Gets to this point where it's curving in. We introduce the surface. Great. Horizon's right behind it. Can you see a little bit that it's a little bit brighter here, a little bit darker on this side? It's just enough that the artichoke is visible against that dark background, even though it's in the shadow. And this side is nice and bright against that absolute black background. Meanwhile, all of the little sharp edges, these little petals of the artichoke are shown perfectly. Centering the artichoke, shooting slightly up at the artichoke. That's a compositional device that works super well. We've elevated the status of the lowly artichoke by shooting slightly up at it and by isolating it. You can isolate something with white or black, but the feeling will always be different. A white background and a black background are different. They're not the same. The subject will not have the same connotation. So be very, very discerning when you decide what you're going to put your subject against. I think these purples and these greens, I think it looks fabulous against this background. We got a little bit of a dark blue surface here. Looks great. Here we've got a geometric shape. I guess we'll call that a geometry. We've got a geometric shape back here with these very non-geometric tentacles falling down. We've got absolute and we've got serpentine, little edge, little curls to it. The light is coming from above and slightly behind, so it defines the edge of the octopus here, and the depth of field the photographer chose puts the surface back here out of focus. That brings this forward. It gives us dimension to the image. We know that it's sitting here, and then the light falling off as well as the tentacles fall off It's just a real treat, a really well composed image. I don't know if you recognize this very shiny bowl, super shiny bowl with the light becoming a compositional element in and of itself. The silver here is a reflection of the softbox that's sitting above it. The softbox is very close. Do you see how big the highlights are? Big highlights on the peppers. It's sitting very close, so we have the dark parts of the bowl. We have the peppers. Then we have these wonderful little reflection of the peppers down here, giving us a little bit of action, a little bit out of focus, but a little bit of action in there. And our everything leads us back up to the peppers and the tomatoes. Really well done. You don't really know what you're looking at when you initially see it, but once you figure it out, it's a lot of fun. It's just a big silver bowl using the reflection of the light as a main compositional element. Becomes kind of a background, you know. In this one, we're using the highlights as a compositional element. I should go back. I should tell you that this image was Ivan Singer's, and that this image was Heather Gill's, along with this image also being Heather Gill. Heather Gill, Ivan Singer, lovely shot by Ivan Singer. This is John McAllister. He's using focus and these highlights as a compositional element to give it dimension. Very bright highlights, very dark shadows here, lots of softness on the edge. So it's kind of movement, and everything swirls around the center of attention. This little garlic stem up against that red onion, that's the point of the image, right in here. Everything leads us to that. The negative space, the darkness around it, the angles of these items. It's really, really cool. Great shot by John McAllister. This is a great shot by Karen Green. At first, I was, and I will still say, I wish that I could see a version where Karen put her camera right on that one and shot straight at that, so that center bar would be straight up, kind of like that is right there. That's straight up. See, I'm a stickler for that, okay? However, she's using a lens that's a little bit wide enough that by the time we get over here, it's very much at an angle. And that is part of the composition. Now, the horizon line isn't quite straight, and I think I'd like to have it be straight. Do you see that? It's just not quite straight, just a little bit off, like there to there. I'd like to have that straight, but for this shot, it works pretty well. These flowers lit before that dark curtain, and then the bright light coming behind the vase. These are compositional elements. This light is a compositional element. The grid is a compositional element. The funky curtains are compositional elements. The flowers are the subject in front of all of these compositional elements, all of them leading us to those flowers. There's enough negative space to play with over here and up here. Really, really nice. But it's just a lovely shot. All this tension with all this design. So like I say, I'd like to see one with it right straight up, that one, but I think this is kind of cool because the lens is wide enough. We're getting a lot of angle over here. Like I say about horizons, if you're off by 3 degrees, it looks wrong. If you're off by 8 degrees, it looks like you did it on purpose. If you did it on purpose, I have no argument with you. I mean, I like it, but that was your call. You know, I don't have to like everything that I see. You don't have to like everything that you see. You just, want to be able to make the shot the way you want it. Here we're going to use a lot of messy surface with a very smooth, very angular subject matter. This is Kurt Moore, really, really great photographer, one of our Project 52 people for a couple years ago. And Kurt does a really great job with this. Look at this highlight here. This is beautifully done. Kurt is a light painter, so these are light painted in. It's really a great composition. Notice how the bottle goes right up to the top of the corks there. The corks start to fall off over here. We've got the glass right there. The red in the glass is kind of round. The red on the bottle is kind of round. There's a unique little play of shapes here. We've got this round element here. And of course, we've got all the roundness of the corks. They're just everywhere. It works really well to unite this composition. Chaos and order. Chaos and order. Always works. Great combination. Michelle Cushman, I believe, did this shot. Isn't this great? It's great. Now, the horizon is not where I would normally put the horizon, but let me tell you why I think it works here. First of all, it's not through the middle of the pomegranate. That would be the deadly place to put it. It's right where the curve breaks. I don't like it there. So if you've got it up here, maybe that works, or down below, maybe that works too. But this one works because there's light playing back here. This little bit of light coming across the surface, this light coming from behind it, those are motivational lights. Those are lights that tell us about shape and dimension, and therefore I think that's okay to have this surface back there. I think it's fine. Look at the texture within the pomegranate. Look at the texture within the little flower. I think these are some sort of flowers related to pomegranates, if I remember right, but I'm not sure. Big, beautiful highlight above. What is the compositional element? Well, it's shape, round, 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 round. We got roundness everywhere. You know, we got roundness here. We got these little round guys here. We've got this half round thing here. We got round up here. There's all kinds of things that tie this together and make it a really, really fun shot. And that negative space, that black space with a little bit of light coming forward, that's also a compositional element. Round, round, spoon, and then we've got all these stripes. And where the stripes lead, the stripes lead over to the grapefruit. We've got this nice gradient, dark down here, bright up here. Got a little bit of a shadow being cast. It's kind of fun. This is a really well-made photograph. And this is Michelle Cushman as well. Beautiful photographs. Look at the highlights. If you're going to shoot a grapefruit, if you're going to shoot an orange, lemon, whatever, you've got to have those highlights. These things dry up real fast, so make sure you've got a little spritzer with some water or some glycerin or something in it to keep these looking moist and shiny. That's what it needs to look like, folks. It can't look dead. If it looks dead, you got to get light on it. You've got to get those speculars. Otherwise, it's just gone. Here's another shadow. I really like this. The center of the image has nothing in it, but the overall image is beautifully composed. It's a great place for text over here. We've got two subject matters, right? Two subject matters that are not separated by very much space. We've got the vase and the flower and the shadow of the vase and the flower, and of course the leading shadow up to it. There's a beautiful empty negative space here. There's empty negative space up here. Up here, you can do a lot with it, maybe under here. This could be a really great ad. Good promo, but also a really good ad shot. If you opened up a page in a magazine and you saw this picture, you'd stop and look at it. And if you stop and look at it, that's 90% of the problem. It's 90% of the challenge, getting them to stop. They stop, they look at it, and they read the little text that's above the shadow there, and they read a little bit of the text that's down below the shadow here, and they click on the QR code and go and buy whatever it is that these people are selling, blue vases or flowers or whatever. That's the goal. Make them stop, make them go, then they'll read the copy. And then at that point, of course, it's the copywriter's job to keep them interested. So we're done. We've done our job. Stop them. Stop them from turning the page. Stop them from scrolling. Here's another kind of chaos shot, but what is tying this together is the uniformity of all these threads. Oh, by the way, Phil Kirschmeyer, really beautiful shot by Phil Kirschmeyer. And this one is Stephen Collins. Steve's a great photographer back in Virginia. And I love this. Look at these beautiful shadows. Look at this nice negative space. The negative space is given a reason to be there by the little threads that come into it. This is like a perfect composition. All of these are perfectly straight except that one. And that adds a little bit of whimsy to it, adds a little bit of fun to it. But notice how beautifully these are lined up. This is hard to do. You got to look through the camera because they're perfect. Got to look through the camera, make sure they're at the right angle to give you those perfect shadows. Great shot by Stephen. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a look at composition. Composition of feeling, composition of engagement, composition of vision. All right, that's the assignment for this week. Let's really work on composition, and please be able to discuss your composition and why you did what you did when we look at your pictures. All right, thanks. Talk to you soon.